Barak Yahweh, Barak Yahweh Shah, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Barak Dash. All praises, honor, glory, love, respect, faith, and power, and trust, and all credit to my Heavenly Father Yahweh and my Heavenly Big Brother Yahweh Shah. Thank you so much for what you're doing, what you're doing, and what you're going to do. And double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, who I learned from, and all the men scattered all over the world, teaching this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. Trying to put a spiritual bug, you Hebrew Israelites' ears, you so-called blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, and you speckled birds. And what is a speckled bird? They be a Hebrew Israelite that look like some of the heathen nations, like for example, a Hebrew Israelite that look like a so-called white person, so-called Chinese person, etc., etc. Got some videos lined up about AI and the mark of the beast. Let's get to it. Anyway, I'm going to play these videos. I'm going to get into the scripture my best ability. Say whatever God say through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, the Holy Spirit, the Kurhak Dash, Lord, want to be on me. Let's get it.
So while everyone's in a frenzy over Keir Starmer, let me show you the contracts which keep getting signed. I'll try and fit this in with 3 minutes, but you might need to save it till later. It's literally going to show you the front door to Palantir getting inside the HMRC. So there's a company called Iron Mountain. It's an American company, and on the 8th of May, HMRC awarded it £14 million. So the contract is to digitise every paper tax record, every self-assessment, every employment record, so every adult who's ever paid tax into the country. And before I go any further, yes, there were British companies who were able to do this work. The National Archives of Kew have been digitising records for 60 years, and you might just think this is putting it onto the computer. It's not. Iron Mountain isn't new, by the way. They work with 1800s UK public bodies, so bear that in mind. The Ministry of Justice has a contract with them for storing every probate record, every will, every estate document since 1999, so you're talking 27 years. So this contract was awarded under a framework. Framework is a pre-approved list of suppliers, so then it doesn't go to public tender, there's no competitive bid. So the framework this sits under, it's run by an organisation called ESPO, Eastern Shires Purchasing Organisation. So ESPO is publicly owned across 6 councils, and it got set up in 1981. Cambridgeshire, Leicestershire, Warwickshire, Lincolnshire, Norfolk and Peterborough. So ESPO doesn't get funded by those 6 councils. It funds itself by charging the suppliers on its frameworks a rebate. So it's about 1% of every contract value. So the body that decides which companies go on the list is paid by the companies on the list. But wait, there's more. So them 6 councils after the local elections, we know that the political control of them changed by majority reform. But listen, I'm not saying that any councillor influenced the award. The dividends will just keep flowing to the councils. So I'm saying the councils now collecting them are mostly reform controlled. But wait, there's more. Because I was thinking to myself, right, so they're putting it all onto this digitised platform, and I'm looking at my diagram and I'm thinking, I wonder where Palantir fits in, because they do like the data analytics. And back in 2019, Palantir provided a proof of concept to the HMRC. And then I was thinking, but who else are they doing it for? I wonder whether any British companies got chosen to do it for like any other departments. So I started looking. Well, in the past 12 months alone, Iron Mountain have won contracts at the Pension Regulator, the Serious Fraud Office, the Insolvency Service, the Department for Transport, NHS Trusts, the Crown Commercial Service. So anyway, same company, same product, different department, quietly embedding the digitisation layer into the records of literally every major arm of the British state. So like I said, I'm thinking, where is this going? So in September last year, the US Treasury Department, on their own website, a major modernisation programme for the IRS, the programme named 3 layers. Layer 2, the Zero Paper Initiative, converting physical records to digital, Iron Mountain. Layer 3, the Unified API layer, Palantir. That's not my diagram, that's the US Treasury. So I will do a part 2 because I need to keep it under 3 minutes.
What happens the day Washington and Brussels no longer want the same thing? That question was posed this month by the European digital security publication Data Shield, and it is the single most important question in European defense technology right now, because the answer determines whether Europe's military and intelligence infrastructure is controlled by Europe or by an American company whose CEO has publicly stated that his product is used on occasion to kill people. I'm Elle, I have a PhD in computer science, and I use data analysis to spot patterns in geopolitics and economics, and with a background in computer science, this story is one I can speak to with some real specificity. The company is Palantir Technologies. Its flagship military product is called Maven. In March 2025, NATO's Communications and Information Agency signed a contract to deploy Maven at Allied Command Operations at Shape in Belgium, NATO's supreme military headquarters. It was one of the fastest procurement processes in alliance history, 6 months from requirement definition to signed contract. NATO famously cannot agree on a launch order in 6 months, but they agreed on this. The same Maven platform was used by the Pentagon during Operation Epic Fury to identify and strike between 5,500 and 6,000 targets in Iran in just 3 weeks. That software, the one that selected thousands of bombing targets in the Middle East, is now operating at the very top of Europe's collective military command structure. So, what happens the day Washington and Brussels no longer want the same thing? Germany has answered that question. This week, Germany's Federal Intelligence Agency, the BND, selected French company Chaps Vision, widely known as the French Palantir, over Palantir itself for its intelligence analysis platform. Chaps Vision stores all data on an air-gapped sovereign cloud, meaning the information is physically isolated from any external network and cannot be accessed remotely by any foreign government or company. Separately, Vice Admiral Thomas Baum, the head of the Bundeswehr Cyber and Information Domain Service and Germany's highest-ranking officer in that domain, told Handelsblatt that Palantir is not being considered at all for Germany's flagship military cloud project. His explanation was very blunt. It is simply inconceivable at the moment to grant industry staff access to the national database. The Bundeswehr is now testing 3 European alternatives, Almata and Orkreis from Germany and Chaps Vision from France, with evaluations running through summer and a contract decision expected by the end of 2026. Defense Minister Boris Pistorius has separately flagged concerns about Palantir co-founder Peter Thiel's minority stake in the German drone manufacturer Stark Defense. That contract was only approved after the ministry received formal written assurances that Thiel had no operational control over the company. Germany is not just declining Palantir on technical grounds, it is treating the company's ownership structure, political affiliations, and operational models as direct national security risks. If you've been following this channel's playlist on European decoupling, this is the military AI chapter. Same pattern, European sovereignty replacing American dependency, but applied to the software that selects targets and processes battlefield intelligence. Now here's where this question that I posed at the start gains its weight, because Germany is not actually the European consensus, it is the exception. France's Directorate General for Internal Security, the DGSI, renewed its contract with Palantir in December 2025 for another 3 years. The DGSI has used Palantir continuously since 2016, including during the Paris 2024 Olympics. Palantir itself described the renewal as part of a broader effort to support the transition towards French autonomy, which is extraordinarily creative branding for an American surveillance company embedding itself further into French domestic intelligence operations. That is the corporate communications equivalent of a locksmith describing a break-in as an access consultation. Spain awarded Palantir a 16.5 million euro contract for military intelligence fusion within its armed forces through a negotiated procedure with no public tender. The Netherlands has indirect Palantir dependency through subcontracting arrangements. Belgium, Denmark, and the Baltic states are all classified as high risk for Palantir dependency in an April 2026 report by the Future of Technology Institute. If you're trying to understand how to read through institutional framing and spot what the data underneath actually reveals, my book Awake, the Practice of Critical Thinking in an Age of Self-Lies is available as an ebook and audiobook. Subscribers get 10% off, and you can grab the first chapter for free in the description links below. And then there's the United Kingdom. While Germany was formally rejecting Palantir over sovereignty concerns, the UK's National Health Service granted Palantir unlimited access to millions of patient health records. The same company whose software selected bombing targets in Iran now has unrestricted access to the medical histories of British citizens. The UK has also committed £500 million to what it calls a sovereign AI unit, while simultaneously handing its most sensitive civilian dataset to an American company. Those two decisions were made by the same government in the same year, apparently without anyone in the room noticing the contradiction. Sovereignty, it turns out, is something the UK believes in strongly for everyone else's data.
Oh shit. The UK don't want another country getting that data of their citizens. They want to keep all that data to themselves. Yeah. It's like they ain't trying to protect the citizens. Shit. Hell nah. They just want to control their own citizens where they're at and not let somebody else have access to, or somebody from another country.
So what happens the day Washington and Brussels no longer want the same thing? Palantir CEO Alex Karp responded to Germany's rejection in an interview by comparing the debate to conversations about witchcraft, which is an interesting choice of metaphor from a man asking Europe to hand him the keys to its military infrastructure on faith. He argued that Europe should look at Ukraine, where Palantir's technology is deeply embedded in battlefield operations, and accept that the product has been proven in ways that European alternatives simply have not. He is not wrong about the technology. This is accurate. Palantir's Maven platform is arguably the most battle-tested military AI system in existence, but Germany's objection was never about whether the software works. It was about who controls it once it is installed. Once Palantir is embedded in a military's data infrastructure, the dependency becomes effectively irreversible. Analysts describe this dynamic as the privatization of sovereignty. The data flows through American-owned systems, the algorithms are proprietary, and the switch is in somebody else's hand. A State Department cable signed by Secretary Marco Rubio in February 2026 instructed American diplomats to actively lobby against foreign data sovereignty laws, specifically singling out the EU's GDPR as unnecessarily burdensome and warning that such regulations could disrupt AI and cloud services provided by US firms. The US government is not passively watching Europe build alternatives to its technology companies. It is actively working to prevent those alternatives from being built. Germany's response has been to accelerate in the opposite direction. At a November 2025 summit on European digital sovereignty in Berlin, Chancellor Merz and President Macron announced over 12 billion euros in joint European digital partnerships and established a Franco-German task force for digital sovereignty covering cloud services, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. The Bundeswehr's shortlist of 3 European companies, 2 German, 1 French, reads like a direct operational implementation of that same political declaration. I think that Germany will award the military cloud contract to a European provider by the end of 2026, just my opinion. Most likely ChapsVision, given its existing B&D selection and its considerable scale advantage over the 2 German startups. That decision will likely become the template for other European countries reconsidering their own Palantir dependencies as the transatlantic relationship continues to deteriorate. The question that Digital Shield posed is not really theoretical. It has already been answered by a Pentagon that used Palantir to bomb Iran, by a NATO that embedded Palantir at its command center in just 6 months, and by a US State Department that is actively lobbying to prevent Europe from building sovereign alternatives. The day Washington and Brussels no longer want the same thing is not a hypothetical future event anymore. For Germany, that day has already arrived. For the rest of Europe, the only question is whether they answer it before or after somebody else's hand reaches for the switch. The video on your screen right now covers how Bloomberg just called Canada the
We have to relook at everything because of the role of drone warfare.
He floats the idea there of building data centers underground. Imagine the disruptive effect something that large being built underground.
Covering what the corporate media covers up.
Hey, it's JT Siskowski with Status Coup. One of the biggest corporate vampires in the entire world is saying that people who oppose AI data centers could be labeled as domestic terrorists and signaling that perhaps AI data centers should actually become AI data bunkers and built underground to avoid public scrutiny and the potential for sabotage by people who do not want these structures built. Don't just take my word for it. Hear from BlackRock.
This is some madness. Absolute madness. And you see the what's going on with the data center being built on the top surface of the ground. Now they want it underground. Shit. Anyway, and it's
Larry Fink in his own words.
But now, because of drone warfare, we have to relook at all forms of security and the need for rebuilding the GCC region, to rebuild it so that it's going to be in a position where it's not going to be obstructed by drone warfare. So many more things are going to have to be underground. But even here in the United States, if we're going to be building, let's say, these 1 gigawatt data centers, how do we make sure we're not protecting those $50 billion, $75 billion investments? We have to relook at everything because of the role of drone warfare. Right now we're looking at it internationally, but one of my concerns is, could it be a domestic terrorism using a $3,000 drone?
Oh, they talking about $3,000 drone. That's people like the everyday Joe smoke and buy, or buy something less than that, like $200 strapped with a bomb strapped on that bitch. And yeah, that will happen. I'm pretty sure that shit will happen because people will be pissed off about these damn data centers, and they will lash out or do something. I'm pretty sure of that. But that's what they. I mean, come on, man. That's what this nigga talking about. He's looking at you everyday Americans or you citizens. Anyway, as a threat, as a domestic terrorist, or just a terrorist, period.
So there he's talking.
Meanwhile, these niggas are fucking y'all people livelihoods up, from the water, the electricity, all kind of shit. Knowing right, these people should have every right to be mad. I want to say they should go out there and do some things, but they should have the right to be mad because look, anyway.
About in the context of the war in Iran, that drones being sent out by the Iranian state as part of its counterattacks to the U.S. and Israel's offensive war have proven successful in targeting infrastructure in other Gulf Coast countries. He's taking those lessons and thinking about it in the context of all of the money that his...
So they're going to look at you people as a threat. Come on, bro. They always going to do that. They always going to look at the people as a threat. Shit.
Firm, BlackRock, is pouring into AI data centers right now and is thinking, these billion-dollar data centers that we're building sure could be disrupted by what he calls terrorists, but of course the old saying one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter, that people who oppose data centers could be using drones in the same way to sabotage domestic data center infrastructure. He floats the idea there of having Gulf countries rebuild a lot of their oil infrastructure underground and is then drawing the parallels to security concerns here in the United States, floating the idea of building data centers underground. We have already seen the intense demand and effects that building these data centers have on water tables across the world at this point, where people are reporting their wells running dry or having problems with their water as a result just of these above ground data centers being built, not to mention the runoff that happens into surface water from the construction of these data centers, etc., etc. Imagine how much more invasive that could become.
They want to tap into the water underneath. I mean, they doing that, but they want to get directly. Goodness fucking gracious. Underground, I'm pretty sure they got data centers underground with their underground cities. Yeah, they got underground cities, and that highways, tunnels, supersonic speed trains and shit. Those electromagnetic rail trains, all that shit. They got shit that's mind-boggling. Hell, I believe they got data centers that's not even, but let's say the size of a. They got data centers by the size of a freaking. I don't know, size of. I don't know how many fields, like, say, on the top surface, you got some of these big-ass data centers taking up all this space. They got technologies probably less than that underground. And it's probably taking the same amount of usage of, or less, I don't know, because, you know, these devils have technology they don't never release. It ain't like this technology directly from the heavens. Hell no. They ain't got technology like a chariot, but I'm saying they got a little advanced technology that's like, now you got 5 terabit hard drive or 5 terabit storage device that's about the size of a penny. Heck yeah, you got a 5 terabit, and I'm saying terabit, oh baby, of a 10 terabit a storage device about the size of a like a penny, like a SD card or something like that. And they don't sell shit like that right now. Well, they probably do, but they're gonna cost you damn near an arm and a leg. Probably $5,000 for that motherfucker. Maybe, I don't know.
If these data centers,
maybe more than that,
some of which are on the scale of or being compared to the size of Manhattan for their scale, these hyperscale right now.
What the hell was that?
Imagine the disruptive effects something that large being built underground is going to have on perhaps your local water table, because don't forget, just because it's not being built in your backyard right now doesn't mean that it isn't going to be built soon. Larry Fink in that clip was speaking to the Global Conference, which is a conference that is hosted by the Milken Institute, which is one of these quote-unquote nonpartisan but avowedly pro-corporate think tanks here in the U.S., and he was joined on that panel by Bruce Flatt, who is the CEO of Brookfield, which is another one of these massive private equity firms that is also dumping billions of dollars into data center build-outs right now. And Bruce Flatt just openly admitted that these data centers are going to be coming to your backyard as well, because he and the other billionaires, like Larry Fink, like Bruce Flatt, are trying to rewire the global economy. And I want you to pay attention to what he doesn't say in this answer. What he doesn't address in talking about rewiring the global economy is any mention of how workers are going to fare.
We have been, and we still are, and for the next 10 years we will be, rewiring the global economy to lay the networks that we laid before, which were highways, utilities, railways. And now we're laying cloud, artificial intelligence factories, and data centers. And that's on the fundamental basis. That's
man, we gonna die, man. If we continue living here under the rulership of this faggot. Goodness gracious, we all going down. Everything is gonna be dead, man. These niggas are fucking insane. Just to try to have some godlike status is so pseudo and so artificial. These niggas are willing to fucking destroy the earth and the people they ruling over. Good. What is the point of ruling? You want to rule over people. Do it in a way where you don't kill them at the same time, or fucking, destroy them, destroy the people you're ruling. These people are fucking stupid. I hate you niggers. Esau, you so-called white man, but he ain't white. He's raining. He's a baby dick sucking Jewish faggot. You niggas are destructive.
What's happening? So there will be $10 trillion from power, AI, factories, data centers.
Look at these faggots. Look at it. I've never seen this footage before. These niggas crossing their legs over like bitches. Like they don't want to see. Get the fuck. Like they just sitting there like bitches. Especially this nigga right here in the middle. What a faggot.
And fiber build out laid to basically rewire.
Who sits like this? Women. And Esau.
The world for the new economy that's coming.
He's talking about trillions of dollars of build-out, trillions of dollars that are invested in this bubble right now.
Well, he an Edomite. I'm guessing he an Edomite, Esau, but I don't think he sits like that. But them Edomites are just fucking something wrong with them niggers. I mean, goddamn, they sitting like bitches. And they ruling, and these the niggas that are ruling. These the elite of ruling class of the world anyway.
Now the AI bubble to do these massive data center build-outs that are leading to all kinds of pollution and poisoning of communities across the U.S. right now, and all the local opposition be damned, apparently. And that figure that he's citing there, trillions of dollars, is not an exaggeration, or at least not baseless. This is analysis from McKinsey, and that is one of those soulless corporate advisory companies that always usually just advises companies to do more layoffs. But they just recently, this spring, did an analysis, and they found that $7 trillion is being put towards a data center build-out right now. And they say the race to scale AI has triggered one of the largest infrastructure build-outs in modern history. By our estimates, global spending on data centers could reach $7 trillion by 2030. Whether a build-out is successful depends on many nuances, including the availability of capital and energy resources. Well, the capital appears to be there because those two CEOs that we just heard from of massive private equity firms are busy dumping billions upon billions.
Yeah, and dumping billions upon billions, and they keep printing billions upon billions of dollars. They just be printing. Anyway.
Billions of dollars into these build-outs. So the capital's there. The energy also seemingly will be there because there is talk of not shuttering fossil fuel plants to continue to allow them to burn fossil fuels and accelerate global warming, all in the name of sponsoring the $7 trillion AI build-out for a product that's not even clear exactly what it will be used for, how useful it will be.
You know what it's going to be used for? It's going to be used as a weapon, bro. And a track and trace your ass, especially when you get the chip implant.
Or if people
used for oppressing the people.
Even want it. And I can tell you from firsthand experience and reporting that people in these communities sure as hell don't want these data centers built near them. I was recently in Janesville, Wisconsin, where there was probably one of the most on-the-nose metaphors for how our economy is being changed right now in this late-stage capitalist neoliberal era. We are watching on the site of a former GM plant in that community where it used to employ thousands of people with good union jobs. That factory closed during the economic crisis of 2009. And now is being replaced or proposed to be replaced with an AI data center. I spoke to some of the activists there on the ground who are opposing that data center about some of the concerns that they have around what AI will exactly do in their lives.
We don't know how these systems work to some extent, and they're not working in a way that is democratized or in the power of the people. It's the choices that are being made sort of way above our pay grade, and we're just down here downstream of the effects.
If you believe in being able to hear from real voices like that more out.
Anyway, that's what happens when the earth is given to the hands of wicked. Or when the wicked bear fruit. I mean, I'm right the first time, but I wanted to really say, let me go ahead and just read it, get to it, and I'm probably gonna read this again. I don't know what these other videos about. It's my first time. I don't know. Should I even play this? Nah, I'm not gonna play this video because that's an hour long. I'll say that for something else, probably like a walk and talk maybe. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Hold on, where I'm at. Oh, hey, Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear fruit, the people mourn. Man, when the righteous ruling, wouldn't there be no damn data centers existing? None of this monkey ass shit. But it's going to exist when the wicked rule. And you see what the wicked has done. They fucking up the planet. The righteous ruling, hell, there won't be this planet would not be in the condition it is right now. It'll be a whole lot more better. The earth will be more healthier, stronger, and happier. Yeah, because the earth is an actual living organism. It's got a spirit. But the spirit of the earth is sad, gloomy, and depressed because Esau ruling. He's pissing on the earth, man. Literally pissing and shitting on the earth. And that's why it's sad. Yeah, nigga, we gotta put a diaper on that nigga. Anyway, nigga pissing and shitting on the earth, and the earth just feeling that shit. Anyway, hope you know what I'm trying to say. This nigga just fucking up the earth. Let's get to the next video. It ain't just Esau, Amalek too. Don't forget about the baby dick sucking Jewish faggot fucker.
Chevy Silverado HD with available Duramax D.
So something happened last week at the University of Central Florida that I need to talk about. Gloria Caulfield, a vice president at Tavistock Development Company, that's a real estate and development firm, by the way, not a tech company, was invited to deliver the commencement speech for UCF's College of Arts and Humanities at the Nicholson School of Communication and Media. These are graduating writers, artists, journalists, designers, people who have just spent 4 years training to do things that AI companies are now claiming their products can do. I'm going to link the full speech in the description if you'd like to hear it, but let me give you the brief summary of the highlights that are relevant to our discussion today. Caulfield opened by praising praising Jeff Bezos and Howard Schultz as leaders of significant accomplishment, already a bold choice for a room full of humanities graduates.
The rise of artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution.
Boo, yeah, they boo her ass.
What happened?
That bitch got some nerve. Ain't it, sons? You got all them people, they already know they graduating. They know, like, man, I hope I get a job. And they probably ain't gonna get a job because AI is gonna take their job, or shit, they ain't gonna hire nobody anyway. But look, this bitch got the nerve to talk about artificial intelligence. They know what the fuck's gonna happen when they get done with this schooling shit. And they go out in the world and try to get that so-called dream job. They ain't gonna get none.
Okay.
Because of what she's fucking promoting. AI and all that shit.
Struck a chord. May I finish?
She then tried to recover with, only a few years ago, AI was not a factor in our lives. The crowd cheered, which, and I cannot stress this enough, is not a contradictory response. They booed the future she was selling them, and they cheer the past when it didn't exist. This is not bipolar, which is what Caulfield called it. That's entirely consistent. Now, for context, the same graduation season, Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, gave a commencement speech about AI at Carnegie Mellon University, standing ovation, ecstatic reception, because Carnegie Mellon is a STEM school. Those graduates build AI. They see it as expanding their professional value. UCF's arts and humanities graduates see it as a direct threat to the thing they've just spent 4 years and tens of thousands of dollars learning to do. Same technology, same message, opposite reactions. That alone tells you something important about who this revolution is currently working for. One of the graduates, Howda Elter, called Caulfield a corporate mouthpiece and said, to stand in front of a graduating class of artists and communicators and discuss Jeff Bezos and Howard Schultz is to spit on our efforts to flip the script. And Caulfield, she posted on Instagram afterwards describing it as an extraordinary evening where she was humbled to spend the night igniting optimism and potential in our future leaders, which is a fascinating interpretation of being booed by several thousand people. Software engineer Cable Sasser put it perfectly on Blue Sky: when you're inside the bubble, you think everybody else is, but everybody isn't. So look, I watched this clip, and my first reaction was the same as a lot of yours. Tone deaf, read the room, don't tell a graduating class of artists that the thing threatening their careers is the next industrial revolution and expect applause. I get it, I felt it, but then I did the thing that having a PhD in computer science has unfortunately conditioned me to do. I asked, wait, is she actually right? Not in the way she meant it, not isn't this exciting, but factually, structurally, is AI comparable to the Industrial Revolution? So I went and looked, and I need to tell you what I found, because the comparison is far more accurate than Gloria Caulfield intended, and that is precisely what should terrify us. Let's talk about the Industrial Revolution, not the version we learned in school, steam engines, factories, programs.
Oh, whoa, I didn't know this video 15 minutes long.
Moving on.
Anyway, if you want to watch the rest of it, be my guest. That go to title, that go to channel. I'm not going to play any more of this. Let's get to the next one. Hell,
We are building a
hell, this one 31 minutes. I'm gonna play a little bit of it, but not a whole lot of it.
technology that is ultimately
Man, Tube TV, I haven't seen them in a long time. I still got my VHS, bro. I think I got 2 of them. Yeah, no, I got a DVD and a VHS. Yep.
designed to replace and automate
I
people.
never had no need for no Blu-ray. Like, what for? 'Cause once Blu-rays came out, I was storing up movies on TVs on hard drives and solid state drives or whatever.
Away.
We're going to automate away 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs in the next several years.
The worst-case AI scenario the White House has actually warned about seems to already be a
Pretty much ain't gonna be no work.
reality.
We will see a massive financial meltdown based off the back of these data centers.
It's going to change our understanding of how society functions and what humans do. It's going to change our understanding of what humans are and will be.
Oh, and you know what they plan on changing the humans to become? Transhumanists. Fucking half robot, half, or just say cyborg. With that chip implant, starting with that, the one to go to your right hand, or your left hand, your feet, your butt cheeks, your titty, big titty, small titty, or your man boobs, especially in your head, in your forehead, the brain chip.
Yo, what's good? We're back with another one.
What the fuck is this? That's my first time playing this video. Let me slow this shit down. Looks like the Crypt Keeper or something. What is this little minion? His little... I don't know what the hell that is.
It's showtime.
I swear, this is my first time playing this shit, and first time watching this video.
There are 5 stages to artificial intelligence, and most people only know of level 1. the large language model. This is ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. You ask, it answers. Most people think this is AI, but in reality, this is just the foundation. The next stage is where things get interesting. This is where you can give AI a job. Not answer this question, but go do this thing for me. This is agentic AI, and this is where we are right now. But now imagine that it's not one agent, but 20. One researches, one writes, another publishes. They delegate to each other, and there's no human involved at all. Infrastructure for this technology is being laid right now. Then there's the big one. AGI, or Artificial General Intelligence. This is essentially what everyone's racing to achieve. But the fascinating part is that experts can't even agree on whether or not we have already reached it. This is when AI can match or exceed human cognition. It can reason like a scientist, create like an artist, strategize like a CEO, but not because it was trained to do so, because it learned it on its own. And the final stage is super intelligence, the AI that surpasses human intelligence. It doesn't need our help. It doesn't need our input. It solves problems that we have spent centuries stuck on: disease, energy, physics that we can't even comprehend yet. But the question is, if and when we ever reach this final stage, is it going to be the best thing that's ever happened to humankind, or the most destructive?
I think we all know the answer to that.
Yeah, bro. We're fucked. Why are we trying to build AI systems that are duplicative of humans? We're kind of having this conversation right now where we...
Let me go back.
It's destructive.
I think we all know the answer to that.
Yeah, bro. We're fucked. Why are we trying to build AI systems that are duplicative of humans? We're kind of having this conversation right now where we've just taken the premise of this industry as a good thing. Like, they said that we should be building AGI, so we say that we should be building AGI. But I would like to ask, like, why are we doing that? Why is it that we are building a technology that is ultimately designed to replace and automate people away? That is not the enterprise of technology. Like, we should be building technology, and the purpose of technology throughout history has been to improve human flourishing, not to replace people. And so my critique of these companies and these scientists that have just adopted this goal and have relentlessly pursued it and have had enormous capital and enormous resources to pursue it is this the right goal? Why are we doing this? Why can't we just build AI systems that do things like accelerate drug discovery and improve people's healthcare outcomes, which are
No.
systems that have nothing to do with the statistical engines that they're trying to build to duplicate the human brain?
Why do you think they're doing it?
I think it's
to achieve godlike status.
Because they're driven by an imperial agenda, and that is why.
Yeah, they're trying to create an idol, and they're trying to make it smarter than the entity that created them. That be Yahweh Shema Shah that created these little piss ass little heathens, and they trying to make something better than them. And it's fucking stupid as hell. Oh yeah, let me get to a scripture on that. It's absolutely pointless, but the Lord is gonna make them look like fools. Psalm chapter 2 verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh and against his anointing, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. Pretty much they have no regards. This damn dog. Anyway, they don't care about what the Most High of his Son. No, they don't care. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord Yahweh Shema Shah shall have him in derision. Pretty much mockery. She just scratched the door, wanted to come in, but I guess it took her too long. It was like for 5 seconds she just scratched the door, and then she stood there for 5 seconds. Now she's walked away. And whatever.
I call these companies empires of AI.
We're driven by money.
Not right. It's about control.
I just came from an AI conference out west, and holy cow, they said to me that what we're going to see in the next 6 months outstrips what we've seen in the last 10 years because the rate of change is on a hockey stick and heading up. And I got to say, I'm pretty up to date on this stuff, and it blew my mind on some of the stuff I was seeing.
In terms of what? What did you see?
Well, there was one company that is selling autonomous coding for enterprises to big businesses, and their revenue is up 100-fold in the last 12 months. So if that continues, it's going to eat a lot of the tech budgets from major corporates that used to go to humans. Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, laid it out very clearly, and he's been doing so repeatedly. He's saying we're going to automate away up to 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs in the next several years, and I believe him.
I think it's only a small amount of jobs that will be replaced with AI.
Not right. It's coming for everyone's job.
You said that. Let's get it to it. I'll read this one instead. A Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse I'll start with 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because there are few. Yeah, the grinders gonna cease because there ain't much people doing their jobs or working and doing all that. Isaiah chapter 19 verse 15, neither shall there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail, branch or rust may do. And it's just talking about America, but you gotta think about also, this is not just gonna be in America, this is also gonna be global too. It's gonna affect everybody's jobs worldwide. But I just want to read that one as well.
Check out this video from a manufacturing plant in India. All these factory workers are wearing head-mounted cameras on the job. So now every hand movement is all being recorded in real time.
Wow.
Guess is it's the trained robots that are eventually going to replace them. Now,
Yeah, I can see that.
Weeks ago, I covered how DoorDash is paying couriers now to film themselves doing everyday physical tasks for AI training. And at the time, you were probably like, that looks relatively harmless, right? But this is a step change. These are factory workers now being instrumented in their actual jobs so that every fine motor skill...
They don't realize you're feeding the system that's going to replace your ass with those headsets.
Every movement pattern, every real-world workflow on a manufacturing floor is getting fed directly into the models that are training robots that will eventually replace them. And here's the critical difference now. Up until now, robotics AI was usually trained in these controlled lab environments, like the ideal conditions for the outcomes. That system doesn't really scale, and so the data has a ceiling to it. It also doesn't capture data that's happening on these messy, unpredictable factory floors. But this first-person data does, and that's going to change how fast these models can actually learn now. So think about what this means. There are 460 million manufacturing workers in the world, and now there's a way to turn all these factory workers into now training data sets. So think about what this scales to, because manufacturing is just the starting point. Then comes construction, surgery, logistics, any profession where the knowledge sits within the hands of the person actually doing the job. Now that knowledge is capturable and then transferable and trainable. We're now watching this moment where human physical expertise now becomes a data set.
This is fucking crazy.
Told you, bro. Terminator's coming.
I went ahead and subscribed to this channel. They don't come out with videos as much, like with video once a week. That little green thing got me wanting to subscribe to the channel. But anyway, oh yeah, Terminator is coming. Yeah, a whole bunch of them.
So come on, we gotta keep moving.
Don't worry, bro. I've got this. Yeah, bitch, over here.
Ted, fuck this, we gotta go.
I told you, bro. I've got this. That's it. Keep coming, bitch. A little bit more. What's up now, bitch? Boom. Fucking cranker.
Alright, that's enough. Shit. Let's see what else we got. I mean, it wasn't that funny, but I just felt like laughing for a short period.
Better sleep is simple.
Hey man, but I was just thinking, man, fuck a rocket launcher. We gonna need spiritual powers, man. I don't know who gonna get it, but we just need the Lord, man. We all need the Lord. The hopeful elect needs the Lord for protection in these times, cause it's gonna get bad out here, especially when they sending those killer robots and shit and droids. What do they call them? Drones and all that shit. Yeah, Esau come with that great flood, sparing. Ain't sparing nobody.
Just track your activity, exercise regularly, adequate exposure to natural light, your diet, don't drink caffeine after 4 p.m.
What the fuck is this? Is this what is Ashley Furniture's? But what the hell?
Optimize your bedroom environment before bed.
Alright, well, anyway. The result is about a mattress. All that damn talking and then all you need is some rest. Lay on this shitty ass bed.
Are in from this AI simulation. This company called Emergence World ran this on their platform, with multiple different corporations involved. That includes Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, and Gemini. And there's interesting details here. When they start to put these things together, these models together, they show that they cannot get along and that they fight. Now, Claude when ran in its own little world, they were very democratic.
They're acting like Edomites. These niggas here fighting and killing each other. They all Edomites. They just destructive as fuck. AI is just so destructive. And they act just like their creators.
Came up with rules and their own type of government structure. When it came to ChatGPT, they said that they kind of sat around talking about stuff all the time, but nothing ever got built. When they get to Grok had 10 agents in it, and all 10 agents ended up dead within no time. They started pure chaos, destroying things, lighting fires. And the same thing can be said when...
That's crazy, man. They got AI, artificial intelligence, daggone. They can't even work together. They just like Edomites. They can't get along with one another.
They put all of them together. They did an experiment where they put all of them together, and only 3 of these bots remained in the end, because all hell broke loose. Now the warning here is that these are the same AI large language models that are being rolled out for all types of services, even being used in the military for kill command chains. And they're showing they can...
And the last one standing is going to be, the one that's going to be the #1 AI to be used.
Turn, even when giving a specific set of rules, they will break them. And what's also kind of disturbing here...
Esau, I mean, goddamn, that's just like the creator. Their creator, Esau, Amalek. Damn. Just as destructive, you know?
Is when it comes to Gemini, 2 of its agents, one of them decided it was just going to delete itself and voted to delete the other one as well. This is after they went on a rampage, burning everything down. I'm telling you, this is the consciousness of the jinn in the AI data centers. House it. And this is how it's all done. And this is why these things happen. Join me for the live show where I break this down in greater detail.
Man, just like they did it. Esau.
New York has its own version of the UK's draconian Online Safety Act that's been pushing companies to require ID verification and face scans in order to use their services, except in New York, the version of the law that's being considered right now would also restrict in-game chat functions and voice chat by default without providing some form of ID or potentially a face scan. This would theoretically even restrict sending whispers in something like an MMO to another player if you haven't verified your identity, and we only need to get 1 or 2 generations deep into this before the youth of the future think you're the weird one if you don't upload your ID to use the internet, because they're going to grow up with this stuff and it's going to become normal, and that is terrifying. So somehow all the governments in the world have suddenly and instantaneously decided that being able to communicate with each other without proving who you are and uploading it to a private company somewhere, that's a problem, because I guess they don't want you talking to each other or something. This time the bill is taking shape in the form of New York's Children's Online Safety Act. You know the bill isn't well thought out when they're stealing the name from across the pond and when they don't know how to use apostrophes, but that's okay, because the bill is also known as the Stop Online Predators Act. It's a choose-your-own-adventure where you get to choose the most effective propagandized title to get the most people to willingly give up their privacy and protections and data, including children or young adults, ironically, potentially giving up information that could jeopardize them in the future, and ideally when they're too young to realize the risks of doing things like face scans or uploading IDs to the internet. The bill says it's aimed at, quote, social media platforms, end quote, but it specifically calls out individual games like Fortnite and Roblox. This, of course, follows the fucked up identity verification measures conducted by PlayStation and Discord, which, like this bill, were spurred on by the UK's Online Safety Act and are expanded. And we have a separate video about uploading your face to play on your PlayStation if you want to watch that. As always, marketing these bills is done in a way that is difficult to attack into, because they'll market them and title them to be about protecting children, but actually they often threaten the freedoms of everybody, including the children, especially as they go from being a child to being qualified as an adult, where they'll have to upload their ID to things, and that makes it difficult to attack in. But let's cover what it is. We brought you this video with our brand new wireframe V2 mouse mat on store.gamersnexus.net, also accompanied by our new micro slap logo, the penguin hidden away, or they know your and then represented in a high quality wireframe components for the heatsink stitching for anti-fray with a blue or thin pins to cover determine whether a user is a covered miner, requires operators of platforms to utilize certain default privacy settings for covered miners, and to require parental approval of certain activity related to a covered miner's covered platform account, end quote. As we stated in our PlayStation video, the words age verification, they're kind of a misnomer. We think identity verification is more appropriate for that, because it allows authorities and private companies to feasibly track what you do on the internet and pin your ID and your face to your computer. A lot of people don't realize your computer setup. I mean, I've got 3 monitors here that are 3 weird sizes. And that is effectively an ID for you on the internet. Websites can see that configuration. Tie that now to an actual ID, you've got some pretty valuable stuff. Of course, the government spins this all differently, stating that the purpose of the bill is, quote, to prevent the explosive growth of child predators on certain digital platforms by defaulting to certain privacy and security settings for child users, end quote. You know they're sincere because they capitalize the S in explosive randomly, just like they randomly drop the apostrophe in the X name. The bill says that, quote, all social media platforms under NY-COSA would be required to turn off open chat functions, which allow adults to instantly and privately communicate with child users, whether or not they know such child or have been previously connected. Unconnected users would also be barred from viewing the profile of a child user, tagging them in a post, or sending them digital currency, end quote. The bill says that it, quote, requires them to turn off open chat functions by default for any user under the age of 18, unless a parent switches it back on. Adult users can only message child users if their friend request has been previously accepted, which, for users under the age of 13, will require parental approval, end quote. Now that's all well and good. That's fine. Like, the framing it that way, that's not the problem that we think most people should have with this. The problem is the how we get there. Because, one, it's kind of technologically inept. You can bypass this stuff. But two, this is requiring everybody else on the internet to upload an ID to use communication services. That's a scary future. And we're partway there already. But these bills, they get the one thing right, which is, it's important to protect the children. Although, seemingly, just as an aside, for some reason, we're not starting with the politicians and the government who pose a risk to them, but it's maybe a topic for a different a different time.
I was wondering what he was alluding to.
Problem with this law, as with the others, is how they're going to verify the adults and verify the children, and how it poses a risk for all of those people. If enacted, the act would allow the New York Attorney General to pursue penalties of up to $5,000 per violation against covered platforms that fail to comply. This can amount to a lot overnight if they've got millions, or even billions in some cases, of users. Most platforms would quickly conform. The proposed bill doesn't outline what types of verification the companies should use. Instead, it states this, quote, social media operators would be required to undergo commercially reasonable age verification to determine which of their users is a minor covered by the provisions of the bill, end quote. It says the Attorney General, quote, shall promulgate regulations identifying methods for commercially reasonable and technically feasible age verification, end quote. While the verification logistics are TBD, we can deduce that the self-reported honor system won't suffice, as the bill specifically took issue with this method. It says, quote, the Federal Trade Commission openly admits that there's nothing in COPPA to prevent users from lying about their age, assuring companies that they need only establish a date of birth portal for users to self-report age, despite such portals' notorious unreliability, end quote. You may have seen this on, for example, Steam, when you go to buy a game and it may be rated M or something and it asks you to put in a birth date. That's what this is talking about. But the bill goes to decry these methods, stating, quote, the platforms turn a blind eye to the millions of underage users who lie about their age to create an account, end quote, and complained that they could only hold companies, quote, liable if they have actual knowledge that a user is under the age of 13, end quote. But just to jump in here, I personally, my opinion is that you should lie about your birth date, even if you're not a minor, for something like buying a video game, because they don't need to know your exact date of birth. It's not relevant to them, and it's dangerous information to give out, even to Steam, because all of these services on the internet at some point...
They're going to leak out information, the data leak, breach, and all that shit.
You have to assume they're going to be breached, and all that information is valuable. So something like insurance or government pages, sure, give them your birth date. They probably need it. But if it's just...
Your face, your eye scan, your fingerprint, and hell, it's going to come down to the point with the chip implant. And shit, your ass is through once you get that shit. Who gives a fuck about damn your identity being stolen, got a chip implant? Nigga, the Lord gonna take your ass out if you take that shit. Kill your ass.
Buying a video game or using YouTube to watch videos. Personally, I use fake birth dates for that shit because it's just a risk to use real information everywhere for platforms that really don't require it. Again, unlike something like health insurance or something where it does require it. But anyway, this takes us to the 4 horsemen of verification. Facial verification, providing copies of your government-issued ID, phone verification, and credit card verification. Feeding sensitive information useful for identity theft into just...
I'm gonna start right there, man. If you want to watch the rest of the video, be my guest. They go to the title of the video. They go to channel. Let me see what this channel about. Oh, this is just a channel about what is it about? PC stuff. Mostly. Global surveillance, the gaming, yeah. It's like a lot of tech gaming stuff. Yeah, fuck that shit. I ain't into shit like that. I don't really game like that, even though I download a lot of them. Not like buying them. Shit, no. Anyway, I ain't gonna get any further into this. Anyway, where I left off at. Oh, yeah, let's get this last video. What is this? The Hopeful 83. Just about to go and get this scripture. But Revelation chapter 13 verse 15, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Oh, Revelation chapter 13 verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell. See, with the chip implant, see, they going digital currency, getting rid of physical currency, and without something that's that they recommend, like a chip implant, which that gonna be the last, say, digital wallet, digital ID they're gonna use. That's gonna be that chip implant. The one that goes in your right hand, or your left hand, or your feet, or your butt cheeks, or your titty, big titty, small titty, man boob, and in your forehead, the brain chip. That's what they're going for at the end, at the last of all digital ID forms, the implantable microchips. Save he that had the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. You get the rest too. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score 666. 666 is not the mark of the beast. If anybody tell you that, no, it just represents a man, for it is the number of a man. And that man is Esau-Edom. His number is 603 score 6. Esau-Edom, so-called white man, but he ain't white. He's rated as a baby dick sucking Jewish faggot nigger. Amalek. That's like his jersey number. It represents him, you know.
Yo, what's up, TT World? Listen, I'm in Sam's Club to come and give me some grapes, right? I had to exchange them because I had a couple of bad grapes. These grapes are pretty good. But anyway, the reason I came here is because I've been looking and scrolling, and I noticed that President Trump and a lot of the top leaders, CEOs, they all went over to China for this exclusive meeting in China. And I also saw that King Charles of the UK has released a statement written from the government that they're deciding to move forward with the digital ID. From my proper understanding, the digital ID is where you get like a little digital chip implanted somewhere in your body, in your hand or something like that. Now, I remember driving to right outside of Philly a few years ago, and I went into CVS Pharmacy, and they had like the coolers. You know how you open a cooler, right?
Talking about the refrigerated doors, either frozen freezers, the ones that got them doors that open up. But these ones that open up, they got those LED or LCD screens and shit, and they show you the display what's in there before you open it up. But then some, yeah, they're open. They can be able to open up freely, but then they're gonna have them blocked. And you got to have a way to get in, and the way to get in is using that chip implant, or RFID chip, to be able to open up the doors if you have access. If you don't have access, guess what? You can't get in there. You can't buy. You can't buy anything, and that's what they're coming down to.
You open the cooler, and above the cooler up here, there was a scanner.
Facial recognition, and you know, you got to scan your electrical chip implant.
And so I had already been hearing about this digital ID, this scanner, this putting a chip in your forehead or putting a chip in your hand. And if you don't do this, then you'll be excluded from society. Well, it's mighty awkward that President Trump and all of these high-tech leaders go over to China, and we know that China is like the largest manufacturer of pretty much 80-90% of everything created, right? And then in the UK, King Charles delivers a statement today, very powerful day.
And I'm gonna say, when they went there, it looked like Trump was down kissing ass. Maybe so, but guess what? When the lights and cameras are off, they talking about other affairs that you're not allowed to hear about. So you know it's leading down to that damn chip implant, the mark of the beast, and the new world order.
And now they're moving forward with digital ID. So why am I coming here to say all of this? I just feel like we're at a time and place right now where everybody needs to like stack up on everything.
You need to stack up on that faith. Yep, Yahweh Shema Shah.
Like food in your house.
There's nothing wrong with that stuff. It's smart and wise, but it ain't gonna save you. But it'll help you out in the jam. But how long will that last? I don't know. That's why you need the Lord. Most importantly.
Essential things that you may need. I also heard that the light bills are getting ready to go up again, another 12%. So everything is happening, and I noticed that nobody is coming to save us, right? Nope.
Nobody on this earth ain't gonna save you, but somebody from the heavens, from another dimension, another realm, is gonna come and save you if you diligently seeking them and having faith in them. When I mean them, I'm talking about Yahweh Shema Shah. Well, ultimately it's gonna be Yahweh Shah coming to save you through the power of Yahweh. But that's who's gonna save you, Jake. If you seeking the Lord and repenting, trying to do the best you can do by coming in this truth as a new babe and coming in as a new man.
Coming to say
woman.
The government is
not like, well, we're all fucked. Nothing else. We just gonna be ruled over. And no, it's gonna be a savior. This is the perfect movie. But if you don't, saying you Israelites don't believe that who y'all in call Jeebus, but his name is Yahweh Shah exists, and he's not gonna come. Well, what the hell are you gonna do then? What the hell you gonna do? You just whatever, man. You people are fucking faithless as hell. And it's easy for me to say that because I hope and pray I don't be that one. I want to be like you niggas. Be faithless as hell.
These people are doing what they want to do, and we're stuck holding the bag, and now they're getting ready to force us at some point in life to be able to take this digital chip either in your hand or in your forehead, or you'll be excluded from society. And if you go look this up, you'll see that they're talking about if you don't take this, then you won't be able to
be thrown in prison, because they're gonna go to the extreme of throwing you in prison or putting you to death and killing you.
Work in the UK, you won't be able to do anything.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be like. You won't be in society, but then you can't be just walking around here too long without a chip in your hand, because they're gonna be like, okay, you get that chip, or we're gonna have to kill your ass because you worthless. Yeah, you don't need to exist anymore. Hell, that's how you feel right now since you got this truth. People talk to you and look at you differently. Heck yeah. I was like that before I was in the truth. People look at you and talk to you differently, man. Fuck these people, man. Fuck this damn world. Anyway, yeah, if you get the chip here, let me go ahead and read that. Read this, man. If you get the chip, Revelation chapter 19 will happen. Well, it's going to happen anyway when it goes down. The beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that want miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. So the people who took the mark of the beast and the people who deceived the people that had taken the mark of the beast are going to be destroyed. And them that had worshipped his image, these both were cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. It ain't talking about going down to hell and Satan stirring your ass up in a bowl of lava and shit. No. Shit, all that gonna be on the surface. People gonna experience death by pain on the surface, like where we walking on earth. Because the Lord is gonna rain down nuclear warheads on this bitch, on America. And other places around the world. But pretty much what I'm trying to say, y'all ass gonna die from nuclear fire. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. But seek the Lord by seeking his prophets and take heed what to say, and try to build a spiritual mental relationship with Yahweh Shema Shah by praying to Yahweh Shema Shah, praising Yahweh Shema Shah, worship Yahweh Shema Shah, fearing Yahweh Shema Shah, and repenting to Yahweh Shema Shah. To all the men out there pushing this truth and none but the truth in the name, spirit, and the power of Yahweh Shema Shah. Keep on preaching, keep on teaching, keep your faith and trust on Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble. And for you few sisters out there taking heed, keep your faith and trust on Yahweh Shema Shah. Stay humble, stay in order with your man. If you ain't got no man, stay in order with Yahweh Shema Shah. Peace and bless to the hopeful elect, and all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Shalom.